Hello, everyone. I'm Chris, and welcome to this month's Edge podcast. Today, we'll be discussing moving back in with your parents after college. It's a reality many young people are facing these days, especially with a recession in full swing. You may get out of college and not be able to find a job. There's a lot of adults with good educational backgrounds established and years of experience in the workplace, and they're still having trouble finding jobs themselves, and people are getting laid off. So moving back in with your parents may be a good financial decision once you get out of college. Whether graduating or struggling yourself, moving back home has its perks to help you get back on your feet, and here are some reasons to consider it. Number one, it helps you to save money. Rent, utilities, and groceries can add up on your own, but moving back in helps to alleviate those problems. Maybe offer to talk about a small cost to your parents to help support you. They already have a budget established at your parents' household, and you moving back into the equation can really put a wrench into the machine for that. So if you contribute a little bit of money, they may appreciate that and help you out and make the move back in a lot easier, since they expected you to be out of the house in the first place. Number two, helps you to avoid extra debt. This is really important. These costs are usually too much for the starting salary to handle. So let's say you do get your first job. Typically, when you get out of college, the first job you take isn't going to be the type of paying salary that you wanted necessarily, but it's a good foot in the door. Now, that salary may be pretty low, but with all those costs, it really piles up when you have the utilities and the rent and everything else to consider. So moving back in with your parents can help alleviate those costs, and the starting salary doesn't seem that bad at that point. And they usually end up on the credit card, and that is another bad reason. Bad idea for that credit card debt then. Number three, it allows you to take control of your career. Getting your foot in the door is half of the battle at the job, and that's very true. While at your parents, you can choose the right job without worrying about the pay. So once again, like I said, if you get a career, you get your foot in the door, instead of having to worry about, can I make ends meet out on my own, this gives you the opportunity to not only focus on your job, but excel at your job so that you can move up within the company faster or find another job even better. Number four, it's great to regroup financially. You may have come into some debt while you were in college as it was, and this is a good time to establish a savings account and save up some to pay off the debt that you have already accumulated. So let's face it, the economy stinks, and you're more than likely the finances of the job have taken a hit because of it, and that's a great reason to start that savings account and get started on paying off the debt. But here are some tips to make this all work. Number one, set some ground rules with your parents. Not so much you making the ground rules, but discussing ground rules with your parents as far as how things are going to be played out. And keep in mind, it is their house, so you are playing by their rules, and that's why it's a good discussion and not a speech to them. Privacy, personal space, costs, and a timeline of how long you will be there are great areas to start. So you may want to move back in, say for 6 months, and establish a good savings so that you can move out on your own and that starting salary won't be that bad anymore. By establishing that rule, not only have you given your parents an opportunity to look forward and see how long they'll have you under their roof and prepare for things, but you've also established getting out on your own. You've set yourself a timeline, and it's always good to set timelines for yourself so that you can keep yourself on track. Number two, continue to act like an adult. You've gotten out of college, you had your fun and everything. Now it's time to, unfortunately, get to the hard work of paying your bills, doing your laundry, making your own appointments, and being as independent as possible. So that's another thing to consider. Your parents, once you move back in with them, aren't going to be doing all the chores for you anymore, and it would be a little ridiculous to get upset that they're not doing your laundry and things like that. This is something that you need to take control of again. Number three, be considerate. If you won't be home for dinner and they expect you, call and let them know. If they're going out of their way for you, making dinner, making sure that there's a plate of food for you there, and they probably enjoy your company as a family anyway. And if you don't show up for dinner, that's kind of a little bit of a slap in the face when they're taking care of you at this time. So Also, let them know if you won't be coming home or will be late. They are your parents, and of course, they worry about you. No matter what age you are, parents will always worry about you and your well-being. Number 4, develop a plan, but keep in mind to be realistic about that plan. Once you establish the ground rules, you should plan on how you will proceed to move out again, like I had mentioned earlier. Make a moving out fund that you can contribute to. So in regards to your savings account, make a separate account for your moving out account so you can save up for money towards a down payment on or initial deposit on an apartment or some other way of living. Maybe it's with friends, maybe it's on your own, but have that as a separate account and then have your savings account there to help pay off debt and pay bills and such. Realize that the majority of your salary will still go towards insurance, bills, and loans. So again, be realistic. It takes patience and perseverance to move out, and especially move back home. It's probably not one of the top things on your list of things that you may be thinking about if you are still in college, but it may be the right decision for you. It may be hard. Sometimes, heads and attitudes can clash in a household with your parents. But I think you'll find that once you get out of college, the way you got along with your parents as a teenager tend to be resolved by the time you get back home and you're a young adult, they're an adult, you're making adult decisions, and everybody's a little bit more level-headed in that position now. And who knows, you might be thankful for mom's meatloaf again. So if there's any questions about moving back home and the costs associated with that, once again, go and talk to your parents, and also you can always talk to a credit union representative about setting up the savings account towards things like your bills, insurance, and loans and things of that nature to pay off debts. But you can also talk to them about some other separate account for a moving out account and what the best options would be for that. So get out there, and in the meantime, good luck finding a career out of college, and we'll see you on next month's Edge Podcast.